everybody, how are you doing today? So, today we're going to do something different. Yes, we're going to talk about a new artist. You want to know all about him? His name is Andy Warhol. Have you heard about him before? Are you ready to learn some new things? Let's go. So, there are many things you should know about Andy Warhol, but one of the most important ones is that he was one of the most important artists about pop art. Have you heard about pop art before? Hmm. Remember about Kusama? Yes, she was into pop art as well. Actually, they met each other. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. So, listen. First things first, and I want to show you that he was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's right here, as you can see in the map. And here's a picture about the city. It's nice, right? You can see all the tall buildings. Hmm. Actually, he was the smallest of three siblings, and his family moved to the US from Slovakia before he was born. Did you know that his real name is Andrew Warhol? Yes. Well, when he was 9, he became sick and he had to spend a long time in bed. And during that time, he started drawing and he was surrounded with pictures of movie stars and comic books. At the university, Warhol studied commercial art to be used in advertisements and magazines. Actually, he was so good in his art club that people decided to ask him politely to not come anymore because you're so good at this. Yes, that's what they told him. When he graduated, his first job it was in a woman's magazine, and he used to make a lot of drawings about shoes. And he used to add more details than what people used to see at the time. He was very good at his job. Later on, he moved to New York and he continued working with women's shoes pictures at 1950s. And he started to get inspired by things that people could recognize, so it was going to be popular. In 1960, he started with a technique called screen printing. Yes, that means that he could make lots of copies of the same art, but in many different colors by putting a lot of color on top of the other color. And then he could make the same pictures as you can see in here in many combinations of colors. As I said before, Warhol looked for things that people could recognize, like movie stars and household supplies. Yes, like the Campbell's soup cans. We will talk about that in a second. And let me tell you something. He loved wearing wigs. Yes, eventually, he actually dyed his hair, but he loved wearing wigs. Later on, he opened up a place called the Factory, and it was a place for Warhol to get surrounded by musicians, performers, and important people to talk and create art and even films. He was obsessed about filmmaking. He used to make films that lasted 24 hours. Imagine that, a movie of 24 hours long. Would you watch that? Did you also know that he used to love recording his phone calls? Yes, if you had the chance to call Andy Warhol, you may have a recording of your call. Now, let's continue talking about his film addiction. He just loved shooting films. And he shooted a film about the Empire State Building that lasted 8 hours. And it was only about the lights of the building going on and off. And people went to watch it. Can you believe that? Now, as I said before, in 1962, Warhol and Kusama met in an art exhibition at the Green Gallery in New York. There were many pop artists called to that exhibition, and that's where they met. Remember that Miss Bibi talked to you about that? That's funny, isn't it? Well, Warhol, in his paintings, he used to mix a lot of techniques. That is called mixed media, when an artist uses different materials such as paint or pencil or collage. Yes, Warhol loved using bright colors and happy things. And then he started painting some sad ones with sad faces. But later on, he went back to painting celebrities. Did you know that many musicians asked Warhol to create their covers of their albums? Yes. And also, many artists started looking for him so they could have their portraits made by him. Yes, he was very popular at the time. Also, he loved painting and photographing himself. Yes, he has a lot of self portraits made by him. He died in 1987 from a heart condition. The Andy Warhol Museum in Pittsburgh is the largest in the US dedicated for one single artist. It has all of his paintings, all of his work, a lot of records that he designed, and photographs and Polaroids, and all of his movies. Yes. If you have a chance to go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you will have the chance to go to the Andy Warhol Museum and have a very good time at it. So, now I will show you some of his most important pieces. Yes, and most of them are about artists. Like the first one that you can see. This is Marilyn Monroe, and he made this painting in 1964. Yes, as you can see, it has many different colors, but it's the same picture. The same with John Lennon, as you can see. He also has a very particular collection about animals, like this one. This is called Gravy Zebra, and he painted this one in 1983. That's the year I was born. Isn't that funny? And then he said that he used to eat Campbell's soup every day for lunch. He even had the idea of building his own restaurant about people eating by themselves because he really enjoyed eating lunch on his own. And also, he had a very large exhibit about all his Campbell's soup cans. And just across the street, a person was making fun of him by adding a lot of real cans of Campbell's soup all across the window. Isn't that funny? There are also some other celebrities who really enjoy the art of Warhol, like Mickey Mouse. You see that? That is super funny. And he has another kind of art, like this one that you can see is the banana. And he made this one in 1966. Well, now that we learned a little bit about Andy Warhol, it's time for us to practice what we just learned. So go ahead and grab one of these sheets of paper that you have around at home. Remember, if you cannot find a copy of this, you can use a white piece of paper, just one page from your notebook. And when you're ready, think first. Think about the things that you really liked about Andy Warhol, or maybe something that you didn't really like, or something that was funny. Yes, if you have your ideas, now is the time to add 2 sentences at least. I know you can do more than two. And remember, you can always add more pictures and more high frequency words to your sentences. So go ahead and practice writing your sentences. And when you finish, take a picture of your paper and share it with your teacher. Thank you so much for listening to this video. And I hope you learned a lot about Andy Warhol. Thank you so much. And I'll see you around. Bye bye.